So Asha Sharma just came out and said that she wants Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains billions of people a day, which is a huge claim given that they just laid off 3,200 people over at Microsoft. So Xbox is in shambles right now. Where are they going to go next? We're going to talk about that today. Also, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, aka Remade, just released and is getting good reviews. It's set to 84 on Metacritic right now. Is it good? Is this Ubisoft's future? Are they going to keep doing remakes?
Your weekly power-up of video game news, updates, and industry buzz. From blockbuster releases and indie gems to hardware drops, studio shakeups, and everything in between, we break it all down. This is Split Screen Gamers.
Chandler, what's up, dude?
What up, bro? By the way, I didn't know you drink your tea out of a water.
I don't, and I forgot to
yeah.
make tea. So I just, since we have a moniker, we say that every single time. I'm just like, this is my tea. This is water. This time, I'm actually on the 75 hard right now, so like I can't drink things with sugar and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's just water, baby.
How's that going, bro? How's
hard.
that going?
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I got to do a workout after
this.
this episode. I got to edit this and then do the workout. It's two 45-minute workouts a day plus a whole bunch of other crazy things. So I'm a madman, but I like being a madman because I feel better. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
locked in,
I hear
baby.
you, man.
And it's 75 days straight, no break. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Keep yourself motivated, bro. I mean, seriously, that's a good goal and stuff. So
gotta be,
yeah, man.
Gotta be, bro. Well, look. First and foremost, before we get started, we're definitely gonna jump into the Xbox news. We're definitely gonna jump into the Ubisoft Black Flag remake news. But I want to announce a couple things real fast. First and foremost, round of applause for Chandler and CG Experiments. Chandler's film Sportsman, which I had the honor of DPing, aka being the cinematographer for the film, just got. Give us the rundown, Chandler. What was the placement?
So Sportsman got into the Montgomery Film Festival for this year in August, which I have never had a movie in Alabama before. I've never gotten a film into an Alabama film festival. So this is the first time.
Congrats,
and
dude.
It's pretty dope. And this is like the 17th edition of the festival. I'm pretty excited for, and like it's in a pretty cool like small town kind of feel like a theater that you would see and stuff. So I'm excited for it. I'm just pumped that people are gonna see like our work on the screen, bro. That's what I'm really proud of. That's
100%, brother.
Like,
yeah, 100%. Sportsman's a good film. If you don't know about it, you should definitely watch it at some point. I don't know. It's not out for the public yet. It's still going through the festivals, right? Festival run.
Yes.
Circuit.
Yeah, it's still going through the festival. And
well,
whatnot,
it follows. It's a really cool story, and once it comes out, we're definitely sharing it here on the channel. But also. Chandler just started his new channel, which it already existed as a channel, but he's doing gaming on there now. So Let's Plays, etc. And so I know you got a new video coming up, but as soon as that comes out, we're going to put it here on the channel, a link so you guys can go check it out and subscribe and get in that ecosystem as well, because Chandler's funny and hilarious. But I'm telling you, it's not out yet, but you're definitely going to want to. But that being said,
You guys are gonna love my stuff, man. Like seriously, you guys are gonna love my video content.
I can't wait, dude.
David laughed out loud, so that's a win. That's a
it's
win.
Funny,
in my
dude.
brokes,
it's funny.
man.
I'm glad you're doing it. It's gonna be fun. You've always been funny to me, so I know you're gonna be funny to other people, bro. I'm excited to see what you do. Now that the gaming might just disappear because all of a sudden Xbox, who just 2023, they're acquiring one of the largest studios in the world, Activision, and then just going. Here we are. Like, was it Activision, right?
Yeah. It was Activision.
You made a face. I thought I was wrong. I was like, what?
Yeah. No. It is. Sorry. It's, by the way, David, I forgot to mention, it is like 80 degrees upstairs. Our AC's out. So, bro, it's hot up here, bro.
You know what's funny? No, I'm not even joking at all. My AC was set to a wrong temperature, so it's very hot up here too. And my headphones are like, I just got them out of the car, and so they're really hot. So we're both hot right now. We didn't even know it. Yes, my ears are burning.
Oh my God.
You're way hotter than me,
dude.
though, because my AC's not out. So you must be in shambles right now.
Dude, it's miserable up here, man. I mean, I still work up here and stuff, but I got a fan, and like my brother, sorry to get off topic, guys, but I have my brother has like an external like AC unit that he can just like, or a portable AC unit, not external, but a portable AC unit that, anytime like the AC goes out and stuff, he brings like, to us and whatnot, and it's great. It's fantastic. The only problem is it takes forever forever to
heat-
like
to-
get it to
to-
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
good temperature. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
only
yeah.
caveat. But other than that, man, like, yeah, I don't know when they're gonna fix it, because they were here yesterday and they were trying to figure out what was wrong. And then my mom called. She's like, "Hey, they're gonna have to get a new part." And I'm like, "Are you kidding
Like,
me?
expedite it, bro. This is air conditioning. It's the middle of the summer. I hate to hear that, man. If anything, man, the air conditioning, the heating and air might go out over at Microsoft since they're running out of money. You know, they spent just to bring this back to gaming. Love that segue. I'm becoming a segue king. Look, they spent, they're spending a multi-billion-dollar acquisition for Activision back in 2023. You know what I mean? Then they went and launched Game Pass, and then they bought these other studios. Like they bought, give me a few of them. They bought.
They bought Two Fin Productions, and they also bought like that one studio, Ninja Theory. They bought Ninja Theory. They bought Compulsion Games. They bought Bethesda.
Bethesda's a huge one.
Like,
yes,
yeah, he's huge. Other than Activision, the Bethesda is the other one.
So after all that, here we are, and I know, was it a few months ago or maybe half a year ago, Asha Sharman, when she was pretty much became in the position where she's at now, which is CEO of Xbox essentially. I forgot what exactly her role is. As CEO of Xbox, I'm pretty sure. Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah. But she's kind of been on this roller coaster of, hey, am I for the players? Am I against the players, et cetera? Everyone's kind of like, I like her, I don't like her. One thing we have to call a spade a spade. She's very direct. She told us months ago that hard times were ahead for Xbox, and here we are, and she's directly saying, we're laying off people, we're closing studios, etc. So that leads me to my next thing, right? And so studios are being closed. So let's go down the list real quick, just so you guys have all the facts, right? So Double Fine, it's cut loose from Xbox, is going independent. Compulsion Games, cut loose from Xbox, going independent. Arcane, under negotiation and apparently illegally required in consultation with its French Works Council to review potential strategic options. French labor law means Xbox cannot simply announce its fate. And then cut by staying. So this is layoffs inside of Xbox. Activision, Blizzard, Mojang, ZeniMax, Bethesda, and Obsidian. 52 people, roughly a quarter of the studio. So people are losing their jobs on this. This is in the midst of people. All the Xboxes for the players. So it's weird because we're in this constant roller coaster, and that's the best analogy I could use. We're in this constant roller coaster of, here's good news about Xbox, Game Pass, or bad news. Game Pass went up, then it went back down. Then it's like, here we are with all these different consoles, and then here we are with this Xbox Direct that's amazing, and then here we are with a new Fallout being in production, and then here we are with layoffs. And so, yeah, that's where we're at. I think I personally have an idea of what exactly needs to be done. I mean, obviously, I'm not in the position of Asha, but I think I know what kind of the sickness, the disease that is happening in gaming, and I think there's a vaccine that if everyone can kind of grab a hold of, will be the kind of perfect solace that the gaming industry needs. But before we do that, Chandler, let's just talk candidly about this. What was your initial thoughts when you first discovered this was happening?
Honestly, I was a little worried, especially since some of the studios that they were planning on fully closing down were Two Fin Productions, which that's one of my favorite game developers out there right now, because they made one of the best platformers of all time, which was Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2. Love those games. Very worried about them, but now instead of just fully closing their studio, they actually just went independent, which you can buy yourself out. Let's say a company like Xbox just buys your company because they'll fund you, they'll do everything, they'll make your game success. You can buy yourself out of that contract by God knows how much money. I mean, I don't know how much money they even spend. It could be, it's definitely in the millions, but still. But I'm glad they didn't get the slam, they didn't just crumble and stuff. And then Compulsion Games, which is the same one that did what was it, South by Midnight, that one game that looked pretty cool. It looked kind of stop motion and stuff, took place in New Orleans. I thought that game looked pretty cool and stuff. I need to try it out, but I've been so busy with everything else in my life.
Hey, real quick. Sorry, Chandler. I'm sorry I skipped Ninja. Some of the biggest ones. Ninja Theory was actually sold to an undisclosed buyer, and Undead Labs was also sold to an undisclosed buyer. Now for Ninja Theory, it was specifically stated that funding to complete the new Senua, I always forget how to say her name, Sacrifice game,
Yeah.
it will be done. And then similar for State of Decay 3 with Undead Labs. So I just want to make sure that's you guys know that those are also, unfortunately, being sold out of Xbox as well. So yeah, keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. But yeah, I was about to say, like, they pretty much like bought themselves out and stuff out of the contract, and they're pretty much acting independently and stuff. But yeah, that's another thing. Like that was the other alternative with some of these studios, is because they have because they are kind of like a mainstay in terms of just like gaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Like people really do adore their games, and people know their names. People like, if you see Ninja Theory, you're like, ooh, we're gonna get into like something great and stuff. So I thought it was pretty, like, I mean, kind of shitty because they also had to let people go, but also like a way to like survive where they could just like sell these two other studios off, because some of them probably didn't have the money to buy themselves out of the contract and stuff, so it was independent. But yeah, dude, so but
okay, well let's state some of the things that are happening here. So Asha Sharma, which, like I said, I want to say she is great in terms of communication. From point A to point B, she's communicating everything. But one of the things she said that a lot of people are kind of picking apart is, she said verbatim, one of the few companies that she wants Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day, which is funny because that's a pretty lofty goal. And she's saying that there's pretty much we're in a transition phase to get to that point. Now, this transition phase kind of sucks because lots of people are losing their jobs, their livelihood over this. And it's always a tricky situation with this, because the fact of the matter is Xbox along the way made some good moves and they made some bad moves, but I would be inclined to say that they made mostly bad moves. For example, let's go back to Xbox Game Pass. Okay, so Game Pass, this comes from Xbox's own chief strategy officer. Xbox Game Pass lost millions of subscribers after the 50% hike to $29.99. So that's, literally, boom, immediately you lost 50% of your income on one particularly big aspect of your company, right? And so that is that. If that says anything about a bad move, if that's not a bad move, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? So that's just so blatantly obvious. And so we've seen some bad moves along the way. They also acquired billion-dollar studios, and so I'm sure they're
studios.
Yes. Now Asha, I want to say, go ahead, keep going.
I was going to say, I mean, honestly, like, besides the Game Pass, which, like I said, I mean, I've said this a million times, but it's like, how do you distribute that money to like different studios? How do you because now it's more expensive, but like before that it was cheaper and stuff, like your standard subscription service. But like, how do you actually like distribute the funds to all these studios if you're wanting them to put their games day one on Game Pass? It's just logically, it makes no sense to like recuperate your money from that and stuff. 100%. And they honestly, they took a big loss for that. And I honestly thought that they definitely knew that, and they were hoping that with like having all these games on Game Pass day one would actually help them like drive more traffic and stuff. But the problem is, like, I don't think they foresaw like this RAM crisis. I don't think they foresaw like other factors like foresaw like brand loyalty like with Sony or Nintendo. Like, and it's just like, also they've never recovered from the Xbox One era. I'll still say that they have never recovered from that. But the other thing, and you mentioned this too, David, but like those accusations did not help them at all. Like, the crazy thing is with the Activision one, they really wanted Call of Duty. That's actually what they really wanted, because Call of Duty is a seller, dude. It's a seller. But another thing they didn't foresaw, which was the poor sales numbers of the last Call of Duty game and stuff, and like people disdain for like
that's a luck thing right there.
Franchise. Yeah. And it's like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised in the next 10-15 years that Call of Duty becomes like another Guitar Hero, which is ironic because Activision made Guitar Hero. So it's just one of those things, man. So
that's a very good comparison. Now let me tell you what I think is happening here, and I think this is happening industry wide. So what I think should happen and what I think is happening are two different things. What's happening is that these executives and these people who are a little out of touch with what gaming actually needs are scrambling to find the next best game. And so they're trying to find the next best game, and they think that's going to save their studio. And so PlayStation got lucky with a couple really good studios, and they consistently made that happen over and over again. And so people started to attribute it less to luck and more to PlayStation's internal ecosystem of however they're doing things. And they're still on that roll. Now, here's the problem though: is PlayStation is releasing those titles way less than they used to, and so it's become more scarce across the board. So what I think is happening here is I think that we have a lot of people on the bottom of the, looking from the outside looking in, going, "Hey, I'm a gamer. These games cost too much. There's no good games right now that are affordable. You guys are all like throwing out these ideas that are subscription based. They are microtransaction based to make up for the time in between these AAA titles that sell really well." And we've been saying this for a while, but I think there's something that needs to happen. So gaming is a pretty new industry, and so you have to think about that when taking these questions in consideration. Gaming is a new industry, and it still hasn't got its footing in the entertainment industry in terms of where it feels euphoric and where it feels most consistent, and there's like a time of solace. Movies have been around a little bit longer. Yeah, it's the largest entertainment industry, but what we need to get is we need to have we need to have about 80 to 85% games that are less expensive to make.
Yep.
Less expensive. Double A games. Yep. Less expensive.
Yep.
Fun. Check the boxes on fun. And then you have these 15 to 20% of the studios that are making these large AAA titles. You see this in the movie industry. You see the A24 of the industry who is making these movies across the board, or Neon, or Blumhouse, or these or Focus Pictures, who are making these movies that are like more middle range. And then you have these like huge studios. You got Marvel Studios, you got Warner Bros, you got, and these are making Walt Disney. You're making blockbusters, right? And so they find their footing in the industry in a way like that. So what is happening now though in the gaming industry is that everyone's trying to get another Naughty Dog game. They're all trying to get another Fortnite. They're trying to get another Call of Duty game. And these games are not easy to make because these are once in a lifetime type titles that they got the formula down. To create that formula all over again, it's just not feasible. Do the formula, take your pick to the multiple formulas that already exist, the games that have always been fun since the PS2 and the PS1, or since the Xbox or the Xbox 360. So like we got to start going back to the basics. Put the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game in a modern sense out, right? Put that out. Make it across the board just fun. People are going to buy it. People want to have fun. That's all it is. This is something Nintendo has done for years and have mastered it, and they have not they have not walked away from that at all by any means necessary. Nope. They don't try to go and step into this world at all. They go, hey, we make fun games that aren't that expensive to make.
Yeah, they're in that blue ocean model where a red ocean is like pretty much like, Microsoft, Sony, which is like the variety, like the big global ocean, the big old world and stuff, where it's like it's stocks and everything. But Nintendo's like in a blue ocean, which is basically the opposite, where it's an ocean. It's an ocean, but it's not like so fast enough, and like the creatures that live in it are unique, and that's what Nintendo's really good at, is creating like a unique variety of games that, let's say you're not a big fan of shooters, which there are some people that don't like shooters and stuff.
I'm one of those people.
Fighters. Yeah. So it's like, people like you, like maybe you like a game that's like more into like, stories, which you are and stuff. Like they're more story driven games, like more adventure games. They have that. That the Nintendo Direct that we saw, that wasn't the best Nintendo Direct, but the first game that they show off was like, a bit of a rhythm game, a bit of like a mini game / rhythm game and stuff. And they promoted that first instead of some big, Legend of Zelda title, which they did at the very end of it, which is the remake, which is the big reveal, so Nintendo, I mean, they don't compete in the same way either.
And they still
smack
smack the industry too. The thing is I want to mention this. You have these AAA titles that are like the God of Wars and any AAA titles coming from that in that type of graphical fidelity, large stories, lots of replayability, etc. You have these super dense worlds. Then at the bottom of the spectrum, you have what a lot of people are upset about, which is like the day one titles on like Xbox Game Pass that were just like, no one even knows the name of the game. No one even knows what studio it's from. No one knows anything about it. It's like a lame, like just like cartoonish game that it's like no one ever asked for these mechanics. You have those. The middle is where we need to be at. The middle, for example, is, I hate to say it because it's not that anymore. It's a conglomerate now, but the middle was actually Fortnite when it first released.
Yeah,
that was the middle.
That was the middle. And the crazy thing about Fortnite is the game mode that everybody associates Fortnite with is not the original game mode. It was a defense fortress mode where you defended your fortress and stuff. Now it's battle royale.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
right there.
That's unbelievable.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, so Epic Games they sought out to make a super fun game. They didn't try to do Call of Duty. They didn't try to do, these some other high fidelity shooter. They said, let's make it kind of cartoonish. Let's make it fun. The map wasn't even that big. Like it wasn't super complex. It was kind of silly, but it was. You know what it was? At the end of the day,
what?
Really fun, a blast.
Yeah.
It was quirky. It had all it reminded people what it felt like to jump into 007, to jump into the Sly Cooper games, to jump into these games that were just like not taking themselves too seriously, and they were super fun. And Fortnite has held that, and that's why they've stayed on top for a long time, and kids love it. And you see the same thing with Minecraft or Roblox or something. Like, these games are simple by nature, but also kind of complex in the sense that they know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it consistently. This is where this is where where PlayStation included, Xbox included, need to find the equilibrium. Look, being the blockbuster system or the blockbuster studio is not for everyone. It's just not.
No.
Be just a studio that makes good games 80% of the time, that are just like easier to make, take less time to make, cheaper to make, and then let Naughty Dog and Santa Monica and From Software and Obsidian and Activision let them make the AAA titles and take 5 or 6 years to do it. Rockstar, 5 or 6 years to do it, and then you know what?
Or a decade.
You know what? Who makes Split Fiction? You guys release a game every 2 years for us to play. Nintendo, you do that. You know what I mean? Like, let that happen. Don't feel the pressure. Acquire more studios who can do that consistently, and I tell you, gaming will find its footing. Right now, everyone's trying to be on the top instead of just being what we need, which is like, we need to be just making games. Let's just make games. That's all we're at. Can we get some games in here?
Bro.
We just want games, bro. That's it. We want games. And look, I'm usually anti like victim game, and I don't even feel like I'm complaining. I just want to say I think this is the current health status of the gaming industry. That's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I still remember games were just meant to like be fun. Now it's like they need to cram in so much more into games. Like, they're becoming like overbloated with like content. And like, I get it. You want to get people's attention. You want to get people to like come back to the game, especially if it's a live service game. And that's another thing that's kind of killed this industry a little bit, is like the abundance of live service games. I mean, we played one on the channel. High Guard was supposed to be a live service game.
It's gone.
And it's gone. RIP. But I honestly, with that being said, I did think it had some interesting mechanics in the game.
Yeah.
But the problem was it was a live service game.
Yeah.
And
I'd rather you charge a little bit more and not make it, because it was free to play. Charge more, $20-$30. Don't make it live service. Just give me a multiplayer game that's really fun. You don't know where it's going to go. And the thing is they get their profits back because it's not free to play, and the game didn't take that long to make. So that's the thing, is everyone's kind of, literally Asha Sharman said they spread themselves too thin. That's exactly what's happening. People cost a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to make games because of labor behind it. And so if you can get a team of, 15. I don't know what it takes to develop something like Fortnite, or Fortnite's kind of huge now. It's not a good example, but to develop something like
hundreds of people.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hundreds of people.
But even
dude.
if you take, I think, for example, Obsidian cut 25% of its studio. That was 52 people cut of it at Obsidian.
Yeah.
So like we know that like there's a part of games that can be made with just 50 to 100 people. So you take 100-person crew and they're gonna make a $20 to $30 game that's really fun, and they can do that. 4 or 5 times, or you got multiple teams who can release games 4 or 5 times a year for Xbox Game Pass day run release, and then that holds us over until Obsidian puts out the next crazy AAA title,
which they were spared, by the way. They were spared from the Microsoft.
Of course they were.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and this is something I wanted to mention, and I sent you a link to it, or not a link, but a post. But they're making a new Fallout game, which about me, dude. Like, holy cow! So I'm like, that's great that Xbox is like, hey, make us a new Fallout game, so you guys don't get eliminated. So
I care. Look, here's the thing: is like I think the Fallout game is cool. Sometimes I hate when they do these kind of sandwich announcements where they are like, hey, here's some really bad news, but here's like a game. It's almost like a disrespect to the community, being like, hey, like we know we just laid off a bunch of humans and like they lost their jobs for who knows how long, but like here's a new game because we know you guys are kind of pea brain and we're like, you guys love Fallout, so here you go. I've always kind of disliked that. I'd rather you just be like, hey, this laid off, and then like, Fallout is coming, but later, like announce it later or something like that when we actually have some actual news, not that it's just in the making. Like I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like it's a sandwich thing. It's almost like here's a couple titles. You just want to see some trailers. Here's a couple titles you can look at. We're like, oh yeah, by the way, like this person, this new mother just lost her job. All right, bro. Like,
yeah, I know exactly. It's like it's almost like they'll distract. It's like 1984, bro. It's like 1984. It's like not really Big Brother watching, but things to always like distract you with and stuff. Even though what's around you is awful and horrible. So no, I agree with that 100%. And granted, I was gonna like mention that during this podcast, but it's just like, I agree with you, man. It's just poor taste and stuff. So that's a really good point too. But no, I do agree. Like if they should have like mentioned that like months after the fact and stuff. But I guess like you were saying, it's almost like a distraction. So but So man,
dude, it's a sad story. We hope that Xbox figures it out. I have sympathy for both parties. I mean, Xbox. Look, the fact of the matter is, Microsoft is not short of money, so I have less sympathy for Microsoft. But I understand gamers are not really happy with what's happening in the game industry, and they're not spending their dollars, and they're choosing their dollars wisely. So.
Yeah, and they kind of pulled the rug. I was going to say they kind of pulled the rug out underneath us a little bit, because I remember when Arsha Sharma was like coming out of the door, like guns blazing and stuff, being like, "Hey, we're going to be like #1 in the game, in the industry and stuff," and like everybody gets a free special edition Xbox, and we're releasing all these incredible games. We're going to go back to exclusives, and now it's like, well, also. Some horrible times are coming, and people are like, "Oh, okay." I guess it was almost apathetical towards that announcement too, because Xbox had already like closed down some studios and like people go and stuff. So at that point, it was apathetical. It was like, "Oh, this can't be that bad if they're coming out like guns blazing," but it actually is pretty shitty. So, but it's
unfortunately,
just,
you're 100% right. Yeah, it's a sandwich compliment or sandwich. Announcement, hey, this and this.
I've never heard that before until today. I wanted to
sandwich. Well, it's actually they usually say sandwich compliment. It's like you say two good things before and after a bad thing. It's actually, I think it's a management tactic, but it's also kind of I think in my personal opinion, it's a kind of a silly management tactic. It's a hey, I just want you to know, man, you're killing it this week. Now I wanted to say. Though, like we need to get, get a little bit more speedy on the reports for the week. But hey, I like that car you got, buddy. It's like, hey, buddy, hey, bro, like I'm an adult, like I don't need the fluff. Like just give me the criticism. So I'm not a big fan of them. I think sandwich compliments, they're in some ways they're manipulative. I think it's like you're not actually, you're just kind of hiding what you want to say between two things that you think I want to hear. See, that's the whole.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what corporate people get a lot of slack. Because they're doing tactics like this because they've read all the books and they think about all these things. I mean, they have the teams to think about everything they can. Trust me, they're thinking about everything. And so when they're like, "Yo, let's put out a statement about Fallout," and then let's also we're going to put it right after we just tell you we laid a bunch of people off. You cannot convince me right now that they didn't say, "Hey, let's put the statement out about Fallout because it's going to help ease the fact that we're laying off so many people, 20% of Xbox." Like that's just that simply happened. It was a thought that was had. It was strategic, 100%. Where they mess up at is that with the current internet, with the current state of where people have access to things, we are kind of no longer talking about. We no longer accepting corporate talk anymore. Gamers we understand it all. Everyone's kind of in a corporate job anyways. Everyone kind of. Look, this is why, I won't get into it, but this is how you get someone like Donald Trump in the power position that he is, because he's so against the grain of corporate world and against what people want to think, what should be said, that people are, it feels like a breath of fresh air to just hear him speak candidly. Now, we're not going to get into top politics, so we're going to stop it there.
Right.
But I think that's how you get something like that happening. And so there's kind of this revolt against, like, we're tired of the strategy, just be a human. And that's exactly why gamers are like, hey, Fallout's cool. There's nothing, there's no trailer, there's no images. You're just saying it's being made. We don't care about that. When it gets to that point, we care about it. But now you just laid off 20% of Xbox. And we care about people. So now,
people first. More
positive news. We'll switch gears for a second about Ubisoft, surprisingly. Positive in Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. That's good news.
It's good news. Wild.
It's good news. Okay, so Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced just released, and it's gotten pretty good reviews. It's got an 84 on Metacritic, and let me check. I think 87 on OpenCritic across 119 critics since the time I've done the research. But it's probably not going to change much from there. That means it's doing pretty good. Most people like it. This is something that I called on the channel a while ago. It's Black Flag. Everyone liked Black Flag. And I saw the video they put up about the remaster. And it's looking like just a really good, substantial quality upgrade. Now, that's good. Now, it does include, I made a thread where I apologize because I put out some misinformation. It does include a battle pass, quote unquote. But it's free, and all it does is you can click on it, and it gives you the extra stuff in the game that you need for free. So it's not like a pay to play thing situation. So my apologies on that. I didn't mean to imply that. I just want to put that out there. I put that on the thread. I also apologize on the thread as well. That was my bad. It was a lack of extra research. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. People are mean, man. They're mean online. You got to own it. So I own it. Now this is good news for Ubisoft. I don't have many negative things to say. What are your thoughts, Chandler?
I mean, good on Ubisoft, honestly, which is wild that I'm even like saying that, because I never thought I would, because it seems like Xbox, they've always just kind of just continued to like go down, like they're sinking ship pretty much. And like they're probably worse off because they don't have hardware. That's the thing. They are solely a software company. So any game that does so poorly at launch is like it's like an Achilles heel to them. It's like several tendons being like just slashed
it's bad.
And stuff. So it's terrible. It's awful. It's like, it's like a movie studio that's also like publishing and developing or making the movie. It's like, honestly, animation studios have it pretty worse, because they're also like, pretty much they have to spend all this money towards their movie and stuff. And the same thing goes for games where, the movie flops. That's the end of the studio. That was the worry about Pixar Studio Ghibli,
Right.
But that's a sidetrack. But like Ubisoft, like since they are so big and stuff and whatnot, they could honestly like, pretty much walk it off, quote unquote, but they're still gonna hurt from it. I mean, you see their stocks, man, it's terrible. And like there's already kind of like almost a sort of revolt inside, like internally in Ubisoft with like the stockholders and stuff. And it's just bad news over there. But like the fact that they actually had a win,
it's good. I love to hear that.
It's like God knows how long that they've had a win. The only other maybe the only other instance that I can think of it was the last Prince of Persia game that came out, which I didn't pick up, but it looked great. It looked awesome. It just sold poorly, apparently. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but going back to like, having, unique games and just like fun games, that is one of those games that is fun and it's unique because it's a 2D side scroller, but like, CG models and the original Prince of Persia, like aesthetics and stuff, instead of like, 3D, like fully 3D, like camera move, like environments and stuff, or
100%. And I've actually heard really great things
Yeah.
about that. I've heard it was actually a pretty baller game from what I hear.
Yep.
So that's something that I would maybe want to pick up on when I can. But yeah, I love to hear that. Now, I want to say Ubisoft, this doesn't mean go crazy with remakes, because Ubisoft has, in my opinion, has been a pretty reactive company and not a bold company. What I mean by that is that people say something and they react heavily to it. In some ways, that's very good, and they make games around that. But in a lot of ways, it can be kind of toxic in terms of being a kind of a core fundamental company in terms of pushing the art. Now, that's kind of saying two things, so I don't want to get iffy about it, because like, listen to the players, but also, man, like Ubisoft, I mean, I've been saying, for example, stay to the original Assassin's Creed formula and the story for a long time, and that they just fully have not done that. But in the same vein, like, they've had some success with their Valhalla and their Shadows. People really like those games. I just don't feel like they're Assassin's Creed. So that's just like a personal bias that I have. I just don't think, I hope they're not like, remakes are where it's at, and so then they go and they spend the next 20 years making all the Assassin's Creed remakes because they're doing well. I don't think that's the case, but we'll see. Anyways, you gotta win though.
Yeah,
you gotta win though.
You gotta to keep on moving, dude. Like, seriously, you don't want to be in the bottom of the sea, in a submarine with it's a pressure cooker down there. So you definitely want to be above the ocean. So no, I agree, dude.
No,
I
Chandler,
agree. Ironically,
what?
quote unquote, black sails, above, being on the ship. Yeah,
Facts. Here's the thing, bro. Now you might maybe thought we were done here, but we're not, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Did you know about what else happened at Ubisoft?
What else did happen at Ubisoft? I know about Black Flags releasing and doing well.
It released. So 51 people laid off. 28% of Ubisoft Barcelona was laid off. Yeah. So, and the game is doing well, and so apparently there are strikes happening, etc. I'm trying to see here that.
Oh snap!
What's today? Strikes every Tuesday and Thursday between June 30th and July 16th. So, yeah, that's been happening. And okay, so we're looking at a layoff.
Well.
And so that unfortunately is. There's a lot of layoffs right now, and I just kind of wish now. I have to fact check this. Let me know in the comments maybe, but I kind of wish that there was a way, like some sort of what am I trying to say here? I want to see
maybe like a law.
A pipe, like some sort of like pipeline or way for them to make their way, like a pathway for them to get back involved with Ubisoft after the success of something like this. Yeah. But there's so many ins and outs of how a company works that it's hard to even make an opinion on that, because I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm trying to be unbiased on, like, from the company's perspective, from the game's perspective, the gamer's perspective as well, from the developer's perspective. But the truth is, layoffs are always sad, and I bet they're even sad for Ubisoft and for Xbox, because they're not heartless people. Hopefully, they're not. I have hope in that. So, but man, we had an episode like this about a year ago. Do you remember the episode where it was like all sad? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. And I was with Chris too. Like we were all sad dudes back then. Yeah. We were all like pretty sad and stuff. I do remember that.
I think it was the Subnautica one, when Subnautica just announced that they just announced that Subnautica's player or developers got laid off after them promising the bonus, etc., which we covered in the last episode. But apparently sometimes it just gets sad like this in the industry, man. So I hate to see it, but yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of things coming up. We got a lot of releases hitting in September. November, we got GTA 6. There's a lot of things coming, so I'm hoping that the next. I would guess that the next 5 or 6 years are going to be more positive than negative. I hope. We're looking at hard times that Asha Sharma talked about now. Hopefully, and if AI doesn't take over, in 2030 or something, we're looking at potential gaming euphoria. Who knows? I can only hope, right?
Like a renaissance.
Renaissance.
Gamers renaissance.
100%.
So, which that could happen. I mean, honestly, we're just kind of in like almost like a medieval like Chinese dark age and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you looked this up, but apparently in this part of in this time frame of America, it's like feudal like ism almost, or techno feudalism, or whatever the term is. It's interesting. I'll send you links to it and stuff, but that's kind of like what we're living in right now. And then eventually we'll get to our renaissance, or maybe our grandkids or our kids can get to the renaissance. Who knows? Hopefully it won't be that long. Hopefully it'll be like, next year or something like that. So
yeah, right. Well, look, guys, we appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment. What are your opinions on the videos? Do you guys like that we're covering this? What are your opinions on the layoffs? What are your thoughts? Do you think this was a necessary evil done by Xbox? It's a necessary evil done by Ubisoft? Are you excited about what the future holds? Are you kind of dim about it? In some ways, I am. I know a lot of people out there feel the same way. But I'm like 80% positive and hopeful that we're going to see up and up from games because I believe in entertainment. I believe in art. So that gives me hope. Yep. And so that much more. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you as always. And until next time, peace.